Wait. Oh, hey guys, it's Comic Quiz here on the current review, and today I'm going to be doing Superman Unchained issue 1, which is the new Superman comic that's being written by Scott Snyder and the artwork's being done by Jim Lee. So yeah, just to quickly point out before the review that this issue was $4.99 US dollars and I think £2.99 pounds sterling. Yeah, so £2.99. So at the end of the review, I'm going to mention whether or not I think this comic was worth the extra amount of money, considering the fact that in actual terms of the page count for the story, it was the equivalent to say Batman, say like the Batman issue, which also had a similar page count, not counting the extra stuff in it. So yeah, I'll be mentioning whether this issue was worth it or not. So in the beginning, we start off in 1945 in a Japanese city called Nagarawa, I think it's called, where this little boy, he's got this like binoculars and he's looking up in the sky. So then he sees a plane flying overhead. He tells his father about this, but his father just dismisses it, saying it's probably just a scouting ship, so there's no worries. But until the boy sees like this ship drops a missile. So then after he drops the missile, this missile opens up and reveals that this man's inside, this blue man. So then this boy, he's still looking up at this, all confused, and then he sees this guy, his eyes suddenly start to glow, and then all of a sudden we see that the entire area is engulfed in flames. So then fast forwarding into the future, well, into the present anyway, we get to see Superman. There's a crisis going on with the Earth. There are satellites falling from the sky, and then he mentioned that 8 in total have fallen. He stops the first 6. He didn't stop the 7th one. The 7th one he left because it was headed for an abandoned area, so no one would get hurt. So just left that one. And then the 8th one, that's one he's handling now, which is the space station. He gets the astronauts out of there safe. He actually throws them out, which was kind of surprising. He throws them out, and then they're falling towards the Earth. But he uses heat vision to protect them, because he says that he explains what he did, like it pretty much reduces the amount of heat that they pick up while they're descending to the Earth. So that keeps them safe from that. So then he dismantles the space station as much as he could, just so that when it actually impacts on the ground, it won't cause so much destruction. So then at the end, he's able to get the astronauts and reduce the amount of damage created by the falling debris from the space station. So then after this, we get to see him confront Lex Luthor, because he thinks Lex Luthor's behind the falling satellites, even though everybody else who he's asked about it believe that it's another group called the Ascension, who's apparently some cyber terrorist group who are really gaining some traction in their work. But Superman doesn't think it's them, because what this satellite thing falling out the sky was too much. It was above what they usually do, so he doesn't believe it's them. But then after, he confronts Lex, but he denies it. So then we get to see him as Clark Kent. He's writing up the story for I think he's writing up the story, but we know it doesn't work for Daily Planet, but he still gives it to Lois Lane anyway. So what else happens? So yeah, he gives it to Lois. Lois is reading over it, but then she notices that he made a mistake. Apparently he mentions that he was wrong about there being only 7 satellites. That Superman stopped 7 satellites, but in fact he stopped all 8 of them. But Clark, because he is Superman, he's like, wait. Well, he's thinking to himself, like, wait, I only stopped 7. What do you mean? Then he starts getting suspicious that that something else must have stopped the 7th one that he didn't stop. So then he's like, look, oh yeah, you're right, I must have made a mistake. I'll just go look over my resources again. So then, as Superman, he goes over to locate this 7th satellite that he left, and he finds that somebody knocked it into the Andaman Ocean. So he's investigating what happened to it, and he finds a handprint on the satellite. So he's wondering, alright, so if it wasn't me, if it wasn't Diana, if it wasn't Captain Marvel, who's strong enough to do this? So then he gets attacked by a submarine, which is under the command of General Lane. So then we notice that General Lane trying to cover something up because he's actually involved in what happened. So then his General Lane's subordinates are getting worried that Superman might find out what they're really working on, but General Lane's like, nah, he won't, and even if he does, he will never get here anyway. Then he mentions that the real Superman has been fighting for the US government for over 75 years, that Superman is not the only Superman in the world. And then we find out that the blue guy that we saw at the beginning is actually the guy that destroyed the guy that destroyed the city in 1945 was actually the one that diverted the missile, or the satellite, away from crashing into that military base. So that's where the issue ends. So overall, I think it was a good issue. I don't know what it was, because when I was reading it, it didn't feel like the Superman titles that we have right now, like the regular Superman title and Action Comics Superman. It was just something about this, because much really didn't happen, to be honest. Excuse me, but apart from the whole satellites falling, that was really the main thing that happened in this issue. But apart from that, not much really happened. But I just enjoyed reading this issue. I don't know if it's just the dialogue by Scott Snyder, but it just felt so enjoyable to read. It didn't feel so subpar like the current Superman title usually feels when you're reading it. It doesn't feel so bland, so generic. I don't know what it was. It just felt so Scott Snyderish, if you want to put it that way. You could tell it was written by him. The wit, and not that there was much of it, but the wit and the humor that was there, you could tell that this was well written. It was the dialogue between characters were really good, and really enjoyed it. And like I said, it really sets this apart from the regular Superman title. And this is really just testament to how good of a writer Scott Snyder really is. Now the artwork from Jim Lee is amazing. I don't really know how much I could praise it, because Jim Lee is one of my favorite artists at DC at the moment, and his artwork's always good. And I don't know if this series is meant to be portraying a much more darker or serious Superman, but the way that Jim Lee draws him in this series, you can see like a number of times his eyes are always glowing red, like as if he's angry or something. And when he's talking to somebody, I feel like he's in the foreground. When someone's looking at him, he has a number of times, like twice I think, maybe 3 times, his face has been shaded out so it's like shaded out, and then all you can see is his eyes glowing, which I don't know if that's meant to be reinforce a dark tone, but it really worked if it was. It just shows that this Superman, even though it is normal Superman, but there is something a little bit darker about this Superman, more serious, more stoic, if you will. And yeah, it was enjoyable to read, but to be honest, I don't think that it was necessary to for us to pay extra for this, because to be honest, like I mentioned, when I read Batman, it had a similar page count to this issue, so the fact that we had to pay extra it made no sense to me. And to be honest, it was a good read, yeah, but I wouldn't say that it was worth having to pay the extra amount, because to be honest, I thought this was going to be like, let's say 56 pages or something, or maybe let's say less, maybe like 47 or something like that, and it would have been much better. You would have used that extra pages to develop the story more. Let's find out a bit more about why the US government has its own Superman, as they put it. Where did he come from? When was he created? Why was he created? So we could have added more to this. Not that you give it 7 page counts to a title which is a whole $1 less and a whole £1 less than this one, and yeah, it's got a similar page count, and it's like, it doesn't make sense. So overall, I say it's not worth the extra amount you have to pay, although it was a good read, to be honest. So overall, I'll give it a 7.5. A good read. I enjoyed the story. Well, I'm just this story. This issue has really piqued my interest into where this series is going, and to find out what the government's really planning with their own Superman and whatever. So yeah, and I love Jim Lee's artwork. He's amazing. I love his artwork. He's like definitely one of the best artists at DC for sure. But overall, like I said, it's not worth the extra amount you need to pay, and yeah, and that's it. So overall, I give it 7.5. It was a good read, great artwork, but it's not worth paying $4.99 for. So yeah, that's it for this review, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Tell me in the comments down below what you thought about this issue. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What do you think of having to pay the extra amount? Did you think it was worth it? And yeah, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't. So this has been Comic Quiz, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.